Westside Church in Bend, Oregon, this is Behind the Message. In this podcast, we take you behind what we teach here at Westside. I'm Ben Fleming.
And I'm Evan Earwicker. Hi, Ben.
Hi. Lindsay's back, too. Lindsay was gone for a while. It was your anniversary, right?
Yeah, it was.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
How many?
18.
18.
It's a lot of years.
That's a lot of years. It's a grown adult.
What are you guys,
Vote.
Ev?
We'll be 20 this year.
Oh, wow.
Sheesh.
Come
Big
on.
2-0.
Wait, this year being...
Next summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in the middle of 19. So,
What'd you guys do, Lindsay?
Well, we were already planning a trip to Mexico to visit my mom. She lives there part-time. And it just so happened to fall on our anniversary. So
Wow.
I know. So we went to dinner in Mexico. My mom watched the girls. It was great.
Come on.
Yeah.
Hot down there?
It was hot. It was awesome. It was really, really nice.
This is the correct time to
Yes.
go to Mexico.
Agreed.
Because you got to wait. If you go too early in the fall, I feel like, then it's like still nice here
Mm-hmm.
and you don't get the full impact of like leaving frosty Oregon. And
Yeah,
arriving.
I agree. It was actually nice when we left, though, because this autumn has been unseasonably warm. But when we
Yeah.
got back, it was frigid.
Yeah. Like right when you got back, I think
Right
is
when
when
we got back.
it changed.
Yeah.
What a great summer and fall.
Yeah.
Like, really, right? I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment. This fall's been magic, and summer was limited smoke.
I think we had like 2 smoke days, like
Yeah.
legit smoke days.
On like 200-degree days?
Yeah.
We kind of sat in that 93, 94 zone. That's perfectly doable.
Well, La Nina is on its way. And
What does that mean?
I've heard we're in for a cold, precipitous, wet winter. So we might have a lot of snow.
La Nina and El Nino I thought they were storms. That's not
I
it.
think they're.
It's like an era of weather.
Here's us talking about meteorology because we know so much.
Well, I think you do
they're-
know.
I think they're jet stream patterns that reoccur based on the year,
Okay.
or not jet stream, but like whole systems, not just like a storm.
Weather systems.
Weather systems.
Okay.
That appear non-regularly.
I think I'm getting my info on how El Nino works based on the Chris Farley SNL set.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember that one?
Yes.
Where he's like on a wave or something? El Nino Spanish for the Nino.
So good. I don't know the difference between La Nina and El Nino. I don't know which does what. I don't. I just saw a map that said we're in for a wet winter.
Is this how the Farmer's Almanac thing works too? Is it based on this
I think
thing?
that's more straight up like voodoo practice.
Okay,
I
great.
don't know.
Great. But they sell it at Lowe's. Are they doing is that voodoo at Lowe's?
The warlocks of Lowe's have developed the almanac for next year.
To
I
be
don't
clear,
know.
I've never believed the Farmer's Almanac. That's not
Doesn't the Farmer's Almanac, it like looks at the next year, but then it'll tell you like 100 years from now, here's how the crops are going to do. That's why I'm like, I don't know.
I haven't read that far into it, I don't think.
It's amazing.
I don't believe in the Farmer's Almanac because I believe in Jesus.
Was that founded by Ben Franklin, the Farmer's Almanac?
I don't know.
I think so.
I feel like it was famously
Really?
founded by him. Yeah.
Why? I mean, I guess he had his
The
hands on a lot
Doolittle
of
letters
pies.
and the Farmer's Almanac and the Declaration of Independence.
The Doolittle letters?
Yeah.
Thanks, Nick Cage.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. All my information comes from Nick Cage movies. Also, Ghost Rider, not Ghost Writer, but Ghost Rider. We should talk about that movie sometime.
The movie?
The movie,
The Nick
Ghost
Cage
Rider.
one?
Yeah.
I mean, we really should. We should talk about Nick Cage just in general.
Yeah.
Right?
I love Nick Cage.
So the last 3 years, I freaking adore the guy. He's the best.
Yeah.
I think before that, I felt like he was just kind of, I didn't get it. He was just kind of a meme in my mind. I've gone back, rewatched that Face Off. I love Nick Cage.
Yeah.
Is it a millennial thing?
Maybe.
No, I'm in. I'm in on Nick Cage. I do think like Season of the Witch and there was some years where I feel like the movies were garbage, and now he's
Of
into
course.
his like elder actor season where he's making.
But I think
Hits and
even
misses.
him doing those has endeared himself more to me because he strikes me, and I think I just respect this in general. He strikes me as a guy that's just like, no, I kind of want to do that, so I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the perfect moment, or I think it's going to be the biggest blockbuster hit. Like, I'm going to do it because I want to.
Yeah.
And I love that.
He's great. It reminds me, years ago when I was doing youth ministry here, we would do stupid videos for like announcements and stuff. And the two guys that were doing the videos brought me in for a scene. And I was supposed to be scolding them at how bad their acting was in the videos.
Okay.
And I remember my line was, "You guys, I wanted Nick Cage in Con Air, and you gave me Nick Cage in Season of the Witch." Which, I mean, imagine this is like for high schoolers, so it's such deep tracks that they wouldn't understand or get the references at all.
Con Air.
And for us, it made it so funny,
Right?
Like to be referencing Con Air. Nick Cage is acting in Con Air for a group of high schoolers.
Well, so much of that garbage we did in that era was just for us anyway.
Yeah.
It wasn't for
Yeah.
the kids. We were trying to have our own little moment.
Oh, the videos would bomb so bad.
The accent in Con Air, that's rough. It's hard for me.
And the general overacting,
I love it.
right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's amazing.
National Treasure. Love
Yeah.
him in National Treasure, though. Spot on.
My kids are really hoping for a National Treasure 3. We'll see if it happens.
Have they watched them?
Yeah.
Have they watched
Yeah.
Indiana Jones?
Not yet. That's probably next, Yeah, I think, age appropriate. There's some scary stuff in Indiana Jones, but
What?
Jack's pretty old now.
You know,
Light a cigarette and watch.
latest.
He's 7. I'm kidding, and I don't support smoking.
I mean, I really want him. He's a smart kid. My kids would not. I think he would connect the Ark of the Covenant experience in Indiana Jones with the Ark of the Covenant that he knows from Scripture. And
Yeah.
he would probably be drawn.
It'd probably bring up some good conversations and questions.
Yeah.
Which we're in that zone. I don't know how your kids, they hit these like big, huge existential questions phases, and Jack's definitely in that.
Is
where
he?
Yeah. He'll ask questions about the afterlife and heaven and just big, huge questions.
My daughter does some stuff like that. That's the who made God question is one that came up the other day, which is phenomenal critical thinking question. I love it. Joel is a little bit more of a bro. And the existential piece hasn't quite hit him yet. At least he hasn't vocalized it. A lot of questions about baseball and basketball and Giannis and how do you say Antetokounmpo, his last name. And that's kind of where Joel and I
These are people.
sit and rest. Yeah, he's a Greek that plays for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh, really?
But not all of us can have sweet children like Luca and Rosie, who are just angels.
They are. They're little angel babies.
I know. Every time I talk with them, I'm like, wow, you're so put together and intelligent and bright and conversational.
Yeah.
That's shocking to me. They are stranger danger babies for sure. They don't talk with people they're not familiar with. Like,
Rosie has a
they
little bit of
turn
that with me.
off.
Yeah.
They turn
Luca
off.
doesn't. Luca's stranger danger?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
she's getting older and a little bit growing out of that maybe. But yeah, no, my kids are cold as ice. If they don't know you, they will give you nothing.
I remember, Lindsay, was it Luca? we were all, a bunch of us were out at like food trucks or something. And she mistook me for Eric, just from like the peripheral. And so she came up. Was it Luca? Mm-hmm. And I felt like, oh no, now she's going to like never want to be near me ever
I felt
again
the
because she
same.
was embarrassed.
Yeah, I felt the same thing.
Yeah.
And she hasn't talked to you since. Just kidding.
No, we're
Just
good.
kidding.
We're
You
good.
are good.
I tried to
You
be
are good.
very non-threatening and warm from that point on.
You felt that you never wanted to be near Evan again?
Me personally?
Yeah, is that what you just
in
said?
that moment, that was the deal breaker.
I decided right then.
No, I was afraid Luca would forever hate Evan Ehrlichman.
Oh my God.
I
pastor.
remember
that's
those.
scary.
I remember those embarrassing moments though, where you mistake somebody else for your
Same.
parent, and it just you're so embarrassed.
Yeah.
and it's not a big deal from the obviously our side of it,
Right.
But for a kid, it's like, oh my gosh,
For sure.
I think she hugged you.
yeah.
And she threw her arms around you.
The side.
Oh.
Like, hey, Luca, and then just the look of
Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't like, hey, Dad. It
no,
was.
it was
Yeah.
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 Anyway,
Wow. Good luck getting her to talk to you ever again, Evan. Nice
yeah,
job.
we're working on it. So. Ben, we just came through 2 weeks of talking about vision of the church moving forward. Not really necessarily just for 26, but talking through what makes Westside distinct and who we are. As we've seen, we have a lot of new folks around the last year, 2 years. And so it felt like kind of a reintroduction of our values and distinctives to the church, which can be really dry and feel like a corporate, seminar. But let's talk about, first of all, your week. First week talking about life and Jesus.
Yeah,
and
my wild week of ruining the 8:15 service and then following it up with something that felt a little more substantial.
I love how human you are, Ben.
Yeah.
Explain what happened.
Yeah, I just pooped the bed at 8:15.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah, I read my notes, which I think is the cardinal sin in our line of work. I hate doing that.
Where
some
you
people
just
preach that way.
Stare at the page the whole time.
Yeah, and just feel kind of locked in that, not connecting with the room. I consider ourselves, we're not, it's funny, and these words maybe don't mean as much as I think they do. We're not like teachers. We don't show up and lecture. We're pastors, and we're trying to teach and help people through something, connect. There's all these elements that I think belong into it in pastoring, and I just did not do that in any of those, and then outed myself to the next 2 services.
which was
because I can't help it either. I know they don't see anything, but there's an elephant in the room only to me that I really blew and butchered this, which seems meaningful on vision too, right?
Yeah, but if anything, you're a compelling, engaging speaker, and that's the reason when you end up staring at the page where it feels so out of place.
Right.
I'm sure in many places that 8:15 people would have been like, that's totally fine, but they're used to, you being really engaging and compelling. And so when it happens, it just gives me comfort because I feel like that so oftentimes at our first service at 8:15, where I'm just like, oh, I'm so sorry. This group has a totally different experience than the last 2 services.
Well, and I think that was part of my discouragement was, because I still think it's a pretty different experience, even when we do well at the 8:15, just because you sort out a lot of things. But I felt like we had done the work, and there was a relational connect of it's not the 9:30, but it is exactly what the 8:15 needs to be. And then it was just something that wasn't for anybody, And then shared leadership went into action. You helped me rewrite, especially the front, to get off on a better foot, and then everything.
And I'll tell you, not because of me, I think you were ready to bring it the next service after that.
For sure.
And the 9:30 was one of the best messages I've heard you preach.
Right.
It was so good.
Yeah.
People were cheering. And by the end, I even referenced it at the benediction moment. That was pretty good, Ben. You really turned this one around. I think the crowd, because you admitted you had a rough experience at the 8:15, they were rooting for you the whole time.
Yes, they were.
And that energy coming from the crowd is gold.
Yeah, for sure. And I in looking at the whole perspective, I think, if misunderstood, that could feel really manipulative. That I said something at the beginning admitting my problems at the 8:15 so that you would cheer for me the rest of the time. That wasn't how it was. It was really this genuine, and at the core of it was us going to talk about vision right now, and I feel like things are not working. I just feel like everything is culminating in that. We're doing ministry how I believe that we should do. I think how Jesus is calling us to, and people are responding. And that's a beautiful moment. And to get up there in the middle of it, when I'm not sure I completely understand it yet, and there's a piece of me that's and then I'm going to sell you on the vision for the next, I don't want to do that. And we're not trying to sell people on that. But I think it was just this kind of cocktail of feelings where I was just a little caught off guard, or not having a great grasp on exactly what I wanted to attack and go after in that first service. And you kind of felt it. And maybe that's a metaphor for how I feel like we are right now. We believe in something. I believe we're leading with great authority and strength. And there's so much that we're in the middle of, not even just what we're hoping to see. There's so much of what we're in the middle of right now that I'm I don't know exactly what this means. I don't know what to do next in a practical and a spiritual way. So I think a lot of that just kind of insecurity came out that day in beautiful and broken form, I guess. But the overall feeling is vision's hard, I think, to teach on.
Yeah. Well, and I do think when we come to vision, it is a mistake to over project like this. We've got it all figured out. We are certain. I remember in 2019, a bunch of churches had this 2020, the year of perfect vision.
Yeah,
You know,
I know. We
And
can
that's-
see
that is
clearly.
such a picture of the folly of like, you know, this arrogance, like we have seen the future and it is so good. And then, you know, 2020 hits. And not that we want to be so insecure or call it humility that we're like, we don't know what's going to go on. What do you guys want to do? Like,
Yeah.
Obviously, that is terrible leadership. I think the Jesus way is to acknowledge like God's in charge of this. This is bigger than us. But we are prayerfully leading into what's next. And that's where, if you struggle to the 8:15, I think you got the traction that was needed for the 9:30 and the 11. And it felt like, yeah, let's do this. I mean, we had so many responses after that first week and the second. But just this lean in of people saying like, all right, like I'm so proud of who we are as a church, not just of you and I, but of where we're headed, where we are.
Yeah.
All these things that I think we've been praying for and working for a lot of years. And now it feels like that, whether snowball effect or whatever, where this momentum is catching, and it's really exciting.
Yeah, and that's where I think it speaks to what I believe to be about our church is that there's a real depth, there's a real integrity, there's a real contemplative nature about how we're trying to lead. And what I have learned about that style of leadership in church is that you very rarely see a whole lot of interest or growth or lean in immediately out of the gate because it's slow and it's contemplative and there's it's not a microwave, it's a slow cooker, it's a slow smoker kind of a thing. And like it got us out, and I hope it keeps us out always, of this idea of Ben and Evan are here in the leadership team and our worship team and we're doing this to grow the church. And it got us out of that and into, no, we're really just trying to pastor what's here. And then the longer term result of that has been more lean in, more interest, momentum. And yeah, that's vision naturally puts you in this funny place. Like you said, we're not trying to predict the future and be prophets in that way. And we also don't want to roll in and be like, well, shoot, you guys, vision is the same thing for us. It's always been for every church. We're going to read the Great Commission, then we're going to let you go out to the atrium. Yeah. There's something that is specifically for us, but also is trying to not act in this kind of arrogant way in where we're projecting numbers or we're projecting exactly what's going to happen because we don't really know. And Jesus is in charge.
Yeah. And some of the themes that came out are along the lines of like, what do we want the church to do in this moment? Not just who we are, which that's a big part of it, and not just what our mission is. That really doesn't change. We're called to follow in the way of Jesus and fulfill the Great Commission. But how do we do that? What does this community look like? And the first week, you spent a lot of time talking about the need for healthy community, connected community, and discipleship. We carried that on through week 2 with discipleship and specifically how we engage in the global emphasis of the Great Commission and some stories from that. But I want to talk about a couple of the questions that came up through these 2 weeks. One good question was when we read our vision, one of the lines in our vision statement is that we want to be known as a church, and we gave several distinctives and then said empowering to women. And then kept going. Later in our vision, we talk about having a vision for women and men teaching and leading together under the lordship and authority of Christ. But someone said, why would you single out that you want to be empowering to women and not include men there?
Yeah.
What do you say to that?
Yeah. First of all, I think if you were gonna ask me the question, somebody said this, is that good news or bad news that they asked that question? I'm wondering if it's good news. I'm hoping that we're creating an environment where that becomes to feel obvious. Like, of course, because why wouldn't you? But what we know, and the reason that it exists in that vision statement is because that has not been the case. And you do need to define that and make it clear traditionally in the evangelical church or in our movement or whatever. That is not a given. And so it's important to the vision of the church to say, specifically, we believe in this piece, and we're going to do things in order to make that happen.
Yeah. Yeah. No one would, I would think, no one would look at us or our church and be like, man, they are not empowering men. as a man in this movement and this church, I've been very, very empowered. And I think that the same is true for a lot of denominations and a lot of churches. There's not been roadblocks put up for men because of their gender being held back or not empowered. And so we do want to speak to those things that have not been the case. And in our movement, I think uniquely, we were founded by a woman 100 years ago. Not a lot of evangelical denominations were founded by a singular female. And I think that's something that's unique and cool about the Foursquare Church. And also, after she was leading the movement that she started, her son took over, and from then on out, it's been men leading the movement. So it's like, it's both. And so I want Lindsay to speak to this as one of our pastors and a prominent pastor in our church. What do we get right in this moment, and what are we still not hitting as far as this idea?
Empowering women, yeah. I think what we're getting right is a fervent desire to do this and recognizing that women have a place in leadership and pastoral ministry and speaking and preaching and teaching and leading, both men and women. I think the play out of it is a lot trickier. And I don't think it's necessarily the fault of anyone. I think because of the way the system has been for so long, it's hard to actually do it. I know so many women who have heartbreaking stories of them feeling called to pastoral ministry in one degree or another and being told, no, your place is wife and mother, and you are not allowed to lead men or speak up in church. And just I've heard just horrible stories. So I think it's hard to turn the ship. I think it is. And I think because it's not necessarily a given, like people really do wonder, is your church, does your church allow women to preach and that kind of stuff? We get those questions often. I think it's shifting culture, and I think even women in our movement are not necessarily feeling empowered or able to step into some of these roles yet.
And it's fair to say that if you're attending Westside Church for the first time and you've had some church experience before, that the odds are good that if you see that, that tells you something about how we not just feel about leadership, but really who we are culturally, because that doesn't necessarily exist everywhere else. Right. We're speaking to a specific dynamic that happens in churches that many people have questions about right when they come in the door. And so it's pertinent that we make it part of our vision. It's kind of like the question we get from people sometimes that they're rarely attacking us or anything, but it's like, you guys are really like driving in the nail on anti-Christian nationalism. And why do you do that? And why don't you talk about this issue? And I go, well, that issue, there's nobody in our seats that is arguing for that or struggling with that. Christian nationalism happens inside the church, and it is our job as pastors to shepherd around that. So this is something that is happening right here, and maybe you feel like it's an interesting dynamic or you don't necessarily see it everywhere else. Well, we've seen it in the church, and so to answer that question is important.
Yeah, and when this year we saw the SBC remove Saddleback from their denomination over women in pastoral ministry. This is like real-time debates, maybe not as much in our church now, but in the American evangelical movement, it's a hot button issue that is very present, like you're saying, within the seats, and it's on people's minds. So when we speak to it, we're also pushing back against the idea that everything's a zero-sum game, that to empower women is to devalue men, which we reject, or that to say we want to move women into teaching roles, preaching roles, pastoral roles, that devalues, women being mothers. Or, it's like me being a preacher does not devalue me as a dad to my kids, and neither does it create some kind of unfairness to the role of a mother. So, we want to push back against this idea of, because this is true, everything else cannot be true.
Yeah.
And that's important, right?
Yeah.
So
Really
that came up. Another thing was when we talked about the demographic results that we got when we took the survey, and having a broad kind of all across the spectrum politically. And some people, I think, are surprised that we would allow the extremes in at all. So if you're very conservative, the thought that you're worshiping alongside not a huge percentage, but a small percentage of people who would consider themselves very progressive, that felt like an affront to them. And probably on the other side too, you have people who are very progressive saying, we allow people who are on the far right here. What do we say to that?
Well, we say there's a lot of details that you'd probably want to know within all of those categories, right? And we let people self-identify as very conservative, somewhere in the middle, and then somewhat progressive, and then very progressive, right? And there's a lot of, like, they would say in the political world, like, there's single voter issues, and even those can vary within each and every single one of those categories. So I would say the first thing I would say is, you still don't know exactly what that means about each and every single person. And the second and bigger thing I would say is, what kind of a church are we if every part of this spectrum can exist inside of our walls? Like, what does that mean? And it is, it's not shocking, but it continues to point out areas of discipleship that we can help create for our church, that if you exist in one part of the spectrum and you hear that not everyone else in the seats is pretty much like you, that's an offense to you. Like, we have to work past that. We have to get past it. We have to understand the dynamic of Jesus's disciples and having ultra radicals alongside tax collectors. And we have to know that this isn't just a suggestion. It's actually how we're going to work. I think there's a lot of churches, and it's a really easy thing to do right now to say, I'm going to pick my extreme. We're going to go all in on it. And they're going to give, and they're going to quadruple down on our vision, and they're going to keep this thing moving forward. We're just not going to go that way. I would say that's actually wrong. But let's say for a second that it's not. I choose still to go into a different direction. I think it's more interesting. It's more Jesus. It's more powerful as far as actually caring for and reaching the broad spectrum of our world. And I said it in the message, like, I hope we view this as a strength that we can do this and not a detriment.
Yeah. And as we've discussed, maybe too much, but probably not. When you put all of your agreement and alignment and allegiance in a political camp, you're going to run afoul of the way of Jesus. You just are. There are political realities, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, where that party is going to have to divert from the way of Jesus. It's just going to happen because the interests of a political party are never going to be perfectly aligned with the way of Jesus. And so if we're actually following the way of Jesus, we're going to be in conflict with a nice, clean alignment or allegiance to a party. And I think that's really important for people to hear. That doesn't mean everyone has to be centrist. I think you can be passionate about politics and still follow Jesus. But just know at some point, you're going to have to choose allegiance to that politician or that party or Jesus. And if you're being discipled, you're going to follow after Jesus, even when it costs you agreement with those in your party. The other direction is where I think so many times we get it wrong, is where we say, I know, like, this is what my party thinks, and I'm going to go with that, even though maybe it doesn't align with Jesus, or I'm gonna twist what Jesus said to make it work in this.
Right.
And that's what we got to avoid, I think, as pastors when we're pastoring people with all kinds of opinions. But then as just people with opinions ourselves, we always have to ask, like, Jesus, challenge my bias towards this political bent or the other.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think even the data itself, the question is really rich and important, and how people identify with those different segments in the question is valuable. Also, I want to encourage people to consider the specific moment that we've been in for the last decade, in which I know some people that would probably answer the question as, I am very progressive. And really, they're just super allergic to what they feel like is going on in the conservative movement right now. They're probably somewhere closer to the middle. But right now, they feel like they hate so much is what's happening on the other side, and vice versa. I'm very conservative. You're probably somewhere toward the middle. You have an allergic reaction to what you feel like is the worst of the worst on the left. And so, and the numbers even show that out. The somewhats combined with the I feel like I'm in the middle somewhere certainly was
Vast majority.
The massive piece of the pie. And that's a great place to feel like we can pastor from. But I would wonder if even people that answered somewhere farther on the spectrum are probably more into the middle, but maybe reacting to a specific moment. I don't know. These are questions that we don't really have answers to, but that's my suspicion.
Good questions. And I again and again in pastoral meetings or responding to emails, I just would encourage people there's a lot of folks that are rejecting the extremes on the right and the left. That does not mean they are extreme in the other camp. And I've said this before, but if someone is saying, I can't get on board with the far right, that doesn't automatically mean they're on the far left and vice versa. And I think we do a disservice to the gospel when we, divide our camps by who's the most extreme. Okay, they're in, and anyone that fails short of that standard of extremism is my enemy. They're evil. They're on the, we have to reject that kind of thinking.
Yeah.
And have a vision for something greater than that within the kingdom and within the church.
And so I tip my cap now that if you know that all of this is in the water and that all these people are going to church with you, are you coming back? That's a huge thing, right? That's why we bring up the numbers, is to say you're currently doing community in church with all these groups of people. If you're going to continue through the vision for 2026 and beyond to continue to walk through these doors knowing that, I think that says something important and valuable about maybe your level of curiosity is too much to say, but maybe your level of desire to say, I might not know everything that there is to know, and I wonder if I can get something by continuing to participate in this community. And that's huge. And I think another big number in those surveys was how many people, what was it, if you combine the former Catholic group with the zero religious background group, you get almost 40% of our church. Mm-hmm. That is one of the most beautiful things I think I've ever seen in a survey. That response made me so happy.
Yeah.
That speaking to curiosity and kind of this lean in that we have a group of people that are either coming from a pretty distinctly different religious background or nothing at all, and finding a level of safety here to explore a new terrain with us. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. And surprising to me that the numbers are that high on people that did not come from a similar background to what our church is. And it's encouraging that something that's happening here is causing, especially those that didn't grow up religious, to say, to lean in and show up. And it's really good. And thanks to Justin and Lindsay, you guys championed this survey and pushed us to do it and kept bringing it up even when we would ignore the request for it. So thanks, Lindsay.
Yeah, a squeaky wheel. That's what I do.
Going again next year?
I think so.
Same survey, right?
Yeah.
Or virtually, because we like to see
maybe
the results year over year.
Tweaking of the verbiage here and there, but I think the same questions for sure.
So then we had week 2. We talked about a global perspective that you presented. So speaking of like going into vision and feeling like this little tension in myself, the tension is multiplied tenfold by talking about our influence globally.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever really heard a church do this well as far as how we communicate it. And I think you and I agree, we believe in the Great Commission, go into all the world and preach the gospel to all nations, baptize them in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. We believe in that, the go piece. And I think we also resist this kind of, we are exceptional and the world is just begging for someone from our church to go out and to save it. And how to communicate in the middle of there, which I thought you did really well, was to talk about this. We want to influence and be influenced at the same time, believing that God works in discipleship in all those ways.
Yeah. Because if we interpret the Great Commission as go and make Americans out of all nations,
right.
Or, export Western culture because it's so awesome, we've missed the point. And we go with this arrogance that says, as Western churches or American churches, we have it figured out and you need to emulate us. I don't think that's what discipleship is. We go to participate in the process of discipleship with those on the ground in faraway places that are praying for and oftentimes lacking resources, but are present doing this great work. And so we come alongside. And there will be those places where we send folks into completely unreached places and are starting from the ground up. So there's not like believers that we're joining alongside of. But I think our heart, because we are not so arrogant to think only we can do this, only we have the ability to teach and preach and disciple make, is that as soon as missionaries are in a place, they're hopefully immediately saying, Lord, raise up people from this place to go out. And I love what's happened in East Africa with Global Ventures and the Island Leadership
Ventures,
Network, where it's Africans raising up Africans to reach Africans.
Yeah.
And that's such a beautiful picture, I think, of how we want to see missions is not that we are just, a team of 20 of us who just can go around the world and preach on the sidewalk and be awesome. We have to break that down.
And hopefully whatever our global influence looks like, it should also just teach and inform us. There's this narrative inside of the American church in some places that's like we're being pushed aside and cornered and ostracized, and some would even say persecuted. Well, and then you go hang out with Mehmet and Barry Vaughn in the one Christian church inside of a city of 250,000 people, and you go, no, I think this is probably more what it looks like to really not have any kind of a foothold in the culture. And you also see Mehmet and Barry Vaughn in the middle of that dynamic, not trying to look to create enemies of the people around them to have some kind of a fight. Instead, they're digging deep roots inside of a community so they can care for their neighbors, and they have a great, wonderful, positive attitude about them and genuine care for their city. And that's how this move of God is going to start in the middle of this area. And so you could just go to Turkey and say, we're going to go teach and preach or whatever. But even if you just went and hung out with the leadership there, you would go, I understand the world a little bit better now. And then that helps me inform the nature, what I believe to be about the nature of God.
Right. And it's so evident when sitting there with their church, present are probably out of a group of about 40, there's probably 10 Muslim people happy to be part of this community, sitting there. I don't know if they were actually receiving communion or just observing, but like they're in the stuff of this Christian community, having not yet like converted or confessed faith in Christ, but there's something compelling about the community to them. And there is a willingness to be there and not be combative. It didn't devolve into some debate of Jesus versus Muhammad. There wasn't this tension. It was I think an expression of like, this is our city and this is our neighborhood and all are welcome and we're going to preach about Jesus. And I do think there is a beauty in putting out a non-combative presence in evangelism that invites people to lean in without feeling like they have to have their defenses up. And Turkey's a great example of that, but it also inspires me. Like, how do we reach people here? Do we do it in a let's go debate and I'm gonna crush your arguments for why Jesus is not the way? Like, you put that out there and you're going to invite a level of combativeness in evangelism that I think there's a better way.
Yeah. And can we just say that wasn't how Jesus did it? Like the combative, he was invited to debate all the time and just really was disappointing to everybody involved.
Yeah.
That was like, I think about the woman caught in adultery, and there literally discusses this crowd of people that have gathered around to have him not render judgment on a woman, but instead really what it is it's like this philosophical and theological debate. And he bums everyone out. Yeah. And it happens more than just that time. And Jesus's resistance to this ultra debate culture is how we're going to win the whatever. It just doesn't seem like his way at all.
Yeah.
And so that's what makes me proud of thinking about how we do it.
Yeah. Jesus is constantly giving non-answers to trick questions, where he does get angry and combative, and goes to bat against people. It's always just when religion is taking advantage of people. So he overturns tables in the temple because you have people taking advantage of the poor. he goes after Pharisees and religious leaders because they're using the law to elevate themselves and push down people that God loves. So it's like the priorities of proselytizing religion fly in the face of the priorities of Jesus to condemn those that would take advantage of people who need the mercy of God.
Yeah.
You know? And so if we follow him, it's gonna lead us probably away from smart debates that make us look smart and right, and into places where we're defending voiceless and weak and the poor.
And where they're coming to him saying, look, Jesus, the law is clear. So go ahead and repeat the clear law. He's saying, your intentions are more clear to me.
Yeah.
You want to come and crush me and my disciples about what we're doing on the Sabbath? Well, which one of you, if a donkey was in a hole somewhere and you had to come on, you guys, like your motivation is so clear here. And that's what Jesus wants to expose. And I believe that that's the truth with us too, is that our motivations, the underlying heart behind all of these things for how we reach the world and our neighbors, that is the thing that we need to keep in check and understand all the time, that needs to be in line with Jesus, especially when we find ourselves coming to a place where we go, well, obviously, boom, this is the answer. Jesus would slow us down and check our hearts.
Yeah. And I think, having a global perspective on what God is up to and to think beyond our own four walls and our own needs and moment and challenges, and to consider the what God is doing all over the world, it shapes us into a person that is more willing to sit in those Jesus-shaped places. And I think it makes us better disciples as we're following Jesus. And I think the theme of both weeks, if there was one word that I think applies to both, is discipleship. How are we actually being shaped to look more like Jesus? And all of it matters. How we bring our politics and submit those to the way of Jesus. How we get out of our closed-minded four walls to think about the world. All of this makes us better disciples, and hopefully brings us to a place, like I said on Sunday, where we're willing to change our mind. Yeah. And it's so key. Once we become closed to changing our mind, we are opting out of discipleship. Yeah. I believe that.
Yeah.
We have to be willing for Jesus to transform how we think.
So what vessels are we using in the next year in order to create discipleship? We talk about global. We've got several trips happening. There's a trip to Mexico, another trip to Turkey, a trip to East Africa, Uganda. And then upcoming real close, we've got an opportunity to serve people in our community through Christmas. And then we've got our Christmas Eve service, which is a huge, fun, celebratory deal. Lindsay, looking at you, the pastor discipleship, what are some other places people are going to be able to step into that you're excited about to continue to move forward in their discipleship?
Yeah. So me and Pastor Brandt, who is the pastor of discipleship that works very closely with me, we've got a bunch of classes. We're such nerds. We love them so much. But he and I basically looked at the next year and just picked, a couple little pockets throughout where we can offer just an opportunity for a little bit for people to go deeper, to learn about different aspects of our faith, discipleship, spiritual formation, people who've influenced our faith, things like that, which I'm so excited about, to have that opportunity here for people to come and learn and grow together. There's going to be ample opportunity next year.
It's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's exciting. As Brett read off the different classes that we're going to have this next year, I'm like, oh man, people are going to love that. I think we're kicking off first of the year with a C.S. Lewis course. Mm-hmm. And what's the theme of that? It's maybe we need Brant in here.
The person is the theme.
Yeah. But it's Christian imagination. That's right. Thank you, Justin. But for those that want to travel, there's opportunities. For those that want to learn here, there's opportunities. For those that want to just sink their teeth into like worshiping together, there's opportunities here. And so we are trying to be maybe a little bit more maximalist than in years past, but respond to, I think, people's desire to like get their hands around discipleship and actually do this stuff, both within the church building and outside of it. Yeah, so it's exciting.
Create some community within there too.
Yeah,
it's good, man. I do want to finish this episode with a little bit of which is better. Are you guys ready? Ready for this? A little holiday, which is better. So you were talking about debating just a second
Yeah,
ago. I
okay.
would like to debate. You ready for this?
Fair enough. Let's go.
Okay. Sugar cookies or gingerbread cookies?
Not
Sugar.
even a question. Sugar cookies.
Sugar cookies for sure. In 100% agreement. Sledding
Sorry.
or
Go back. If you're going to ask sugar cookies or gingerbread cake, I would probably go gingerbread cake.
who's making gingerbread cake?
Anyone who knows what's up about Christmas. Fresh out of the oven gingerbread cake with real whipped cream.
Like, literally never heard of it.
Are you serious? You've never had gingerbread cake?
I don't think I have either.
You guys are insane.
Is it
Do you
just
even-
cake with
Do you even believe in Christmas?
This is not a hardcore foundational tradition.
It is in where I grew up. We can move on, but anyway, that's my opinion.
Oh no, we should bed down right here and talk about this for a while.
Maybe I'll call my mom and see if she can make some gingerbread cake for us and bring it into church.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, sure. All right, fair enough. Elf or Home Alone?
Home Alone.
Home Alone. Elf kind of annoys me.
Whoa! Whoa!
I know.
The holiday takes are so far off the rails. 2 questions
I
in. This
think-
is insane.
I think I was the wrong age when it came out. It came out 20 years ago, right?
Elf?
Yeah.
It's probably in the
I think it was
Yeah.
2000?
early 2000s.
Like
maybe even a
2003.
little longer. Yeah.
Yeah.
think.
I feel like if I was a little bit younger, I would have connected more to it.
It's a great movie, man. It's annoying. What's annoying?
I think the amount of times we watched it early on, it was like every event you go to, we're going to watch Elf. Oh, gosh.
So it's just a volume thing. For you.
Probably.
You're not annoyed
Yeah.
by the character. A lot of people take issue with like the last 20 minutes of the movie that gets into like this really classic Santa saving Christmas
Yeah.
kind of a thing.
Rockets on the sled and all that.
Yeah, it gets out of like the fish out of water story. That's pretty fun. But I even find that fun. It's whimsical. And
It's Christmas.
it's
Yeah.
Christmas.
But Home Alone, it's like it's a perfect Christmas movie.
Quintessential.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Home Alone is perfect.
Guys, the Tin Pan Theater is showing it on Christmas Day.
Get
What?
out.
I might go.
Yeah, you should.
That sounds like a hot, sweaty room.
Ew.
It's a small room, and I bet that thing will be so
think
popular.
Christmas Day?
Yes. I think Christmas Day is a big movie day for people.
Yeah.
It is a
That's
big
true.
movie day for
Yeah.
people. So I'll throw this one out. This was not
Let us
planned.
know how that goes, though.
Within Home Alone, that we all agree is a classic, and I would take Home Alone over Elf too, but I also love Elf. What's more important to the movie? The villains played by the people that they are, Joe Pesci, and I always forget the other guy's name.
Oh, poor other guy.
Right? They're perfect. Or so do you replace the actors or do you replace the score? What would crush the movie more, replacing the actors or the score? Who's more important?
Oh, man. I think you could replace everything else but the score and Joe Pesci and the other guy.
What? Because who composed it, Ev? Remind
John
us.
John Williams. And we're back.
Oh, the best theme.
I don't know. I don't think you can take either away because you're describing the two things that make the whole movie work.
I know. That's what makes the question
Literally
work.
nothing else matters. Macaulay Culkin, yeah, but like,
The score, man.
The score.
The music.
I can hear it right now. I can hear it in my
The
head.
da-na-na-na-na-na. It is so good.
yeah.
And like makes you want to laugh and cry at the same time. Oh my gosh.
And again, you take out Joe Pesci, like it's just not.
Yeah, the answer
not
is
the
you
same
could
thing.
replace the villains with somebody else, but you have to have the score. I'm with you. Did you vote on that one, Lindsay?
I can't decide. It's like
That's the
choosing
point.
a favorite child. I won't.
One of the three of us grew up with heavy rotations of political talk radio and sports talk radio. I want you guys to guess who it is. Real Christmas tree or fake trees? Artificial trees.
I used to be real passionate about this.
I can tell we're getting older because the response was not immediate.
Yeah, I used to care a lot. I mean, we'd go like snowmobile into the forest and then drag a tree home on the back of a snowmobile. That was my 20s before kids, and now I'm all in on a artificial tree that I can pull down and get, set up in 5 minutes or less. That's so lame.
I'm similar.
Yeah.
Similar. I was all about real trees because we didn't really have those in Albuquerque growing up. We didn't really have, we had Christmas tree lots, but that wasn't the thing. Everyone had a fake tree. So when I moved here, I was all about the real tree, the smell, all the things. But those pine needles, man, it's kind of a deal breaker for
Messy
me.
and fire hazards.
I think I still find pine needles in my home, and we've had a fake tree for like four years, maybe
Fire
5.
hazards.
What about you, Ben?
Real trees, guys. Yeah, you got to go real trees. It's the smell that trumps everything else that you guys just talked about. I know the leaves are not ideal, or the needles are not ideal, and even the going out has been a little ruined by my kids. That we've got about 10 minutes of a good experience hunting for a tree, and then the rest of it sucks. But the smell overrules all of those things. It's important to have the real smell.
You know, you can just
Nope, it doesn't work.
No, I'm not saying artificially. You can get pine needles, pine cones, and you can just set them in your house.
Okay.
It'll
Or
smell
garland,
still.
real garland.
real garland.
We get that.
Yeah, you guys are still wrong, and I'm
Justin,
really
real tree or
impressed that you're
artificial?
sticking it.
Real.
Thank you.
Yeah, you
Good
guys are-
grief.
Against
You guys are the purists.
Let me get a tie here. The Grinch or Evan, based on all these responses.
I will not choose between my two favorite children.
Pumpkin pie or pecan pie?
Oh, I think
pumpkin.
pumpkin.
Yeah.
Does
pumpkin,
anyone like?
for sure?
I put pecan pie, not as bad, but in there with like minced meat pies
Yeah.
on the dessert table. Like
Minced
I
meat
I
pies?
love a meat pies.
Me too.
Delicious as part of your meal.
Yeah.
But when it's like pumpkin pie, strawberry rhubarb, and then a mincemeat pie, no one's eating the mincemeat at dessert. Come on.
No, for sure. It should not be just because they say pie. Chicken pot pie. That's dessert. That's not a dessert.
Not
That's
dessert.
an entree.
Get it
No,
off the
for
dessert
sure.
table.
Pecan pie is dessert.
No, pecan pie.
No, I
is,
know,
yeah.
but I just like it so little. I would put it in the same category.
Right, yeah. You said pumpkin, right? I'm
Yeah,
going pumpkin
all
for
day.
sure. My dad is the only one that just adores pecan pie.
Really?
Can somebody make it pecan pie? It should not be as sweet as it is. Pecan pies are so sweet.
It's over sweet, and it's like the texture of like cockroaches when you bite into a pecan.
well, cockroaches. So you don't like pecans?
I don't like pecans.
I like pecans.
I like pecans.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a little dry. They can be a little
Minced meat
dry.
is not actually meat, though.
What is
Mincemeat's
it?
not meat?
No, it's like I just looked it up. It's
This is Justin talking
fruit,
for the
nuts,
listener.
brandy, citrus. It's not. a
Fruit,
meat pie.
nuts, brandy,
that's
and
dessert.
citrus. It's not a mince.
That's a
So that's
dessert
why it goes on the
situation.
dessert.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe it's the name. Maybe I've never actually tried it. I'm just like, no one wants your
What?
mincemeat pie, aunt, whoever.
No, mincemeat should have meat in it. It doesn't have meat in it.
It doesn't have meat ever.
No, I don't think so.
This is
Okay.
stupid.
Wow.
They don't get to call it meat then.
Australia, New Zealand, really good meat pies for like meals though. And
Yeah.
I think every culture has their own version of like a calzone or a meat pie, or I'm all in. Where's that lunch spot? You know?
Right. Yeah. We got to have one. That's the next cultural direction that we need to go in, Ben.
Yeah.
2 more questions. Secret Santa or White Elephant?
White elephant.
White elephant.
Why?
It's more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing worse, though, than a white elephant where 20% of the people don't get it. And somehow we still have, like, they brought something nice.
Yeah.
And they're really bummed out about getting your broken golf club that you brought.
Sure.
Like that's and it ends up being a gift exchange where it's like 2 hours of awkwardness of people being kind of grumpy on the other side, and then you're stealing it anyway. But I'm with you. White elephant. Secret Santa lasts too long. All the secrets are exhausting.
Too much pressure.
Yeah. Okay. So this is we'll go another movie. Well, you want another movie one, or do you want like a general holiday winter fun kind of question?
Do winter fun and then let's wrap up.
Winter fun. Okay. Snowball fight or building a snowman?
Building a snowman. Because I've done both with my kids wanting to do both, and the snowman is much more like it's a project. There's an end to it. Snowball fights. Is the snow good enough for snowballs? Probably not. So then you're just like tossing. That's what it sounds like. So stupid. Build a snowman, man. Give me something that at the end of the day we be like, yes, that is what we built.
So you present a bend problem. With both of those, there's a bend problem.
Yeah.
And that I feel like we don't have packable snow that often.
It's a lot of dry,
like 90% of the snow we
cold,
get is
dry
like that.
snow. Yeah. Yeah.
And so I had the opposite experience where my daughter really wanted me to build a snowman. I just could not understand why it couldn't be done. And I was like, well, the only way to do this is if I'm going to get the hose out now and kind of mist the snow real quick.
That's a rough day in the snow when you're misting your
I'm going snowball fight. Lindsay?
I say neither because I don't want my hands to get cold. But
As
but
you sit by your artificial tree.
Yep, I'm gonna stay inside in the warm, dry. But my kids will build a snowman out of the most minimal amount of snow you've ever seen in your life, and just use anything they can find for the face.
Yes.
It's the greatest.
That's pretty cute.
That's the greatest.
That's pretty cute.
Yeah.
I'll give it to you. I still take a snowball fight, but I can admit that. Okay, this is a three-er: hot cocoa, apple cider, or eggnog.
None are great. Just saying.
None?
Nah.
You can't go for any of those.
It's all very sweet.
Yeah.
It's very, very sweet. I like a cold apple cider in the fall as a beverage. Yeah, like out of a jug. You know, have you not seen
cinnamon
this?
in a mug, and you see
No,
this
no,
thing-
no. Hot
I'll
apple
take
cider.
apple cider cold.
Yeah, it's like apple juice.
Yeah, it's just apple
It's
juice.
just apple
is
juice.
What that
No,
is.
I think they leave more of the apple skin in there, so it's more textured. You guys have never heard of this?
I mean, I know it's a thing. I get that.
The worst is the powdered apple cider into hot water. That's garbage.
I
Agreed.
give you guys 3 fairly tasty options, and Lindsay's like, "This all sucks," and you're like, "Give me cold apple skin cider." We're showing our age here, you guys.
yeah. Yep.
Fake trees, all that's too sweet. Elf's annoying.
I like to go back to the original question. I do like a little bit of eggnog. Like if you're drinking like a tall dinner glass of eggnog, you've got a problem.
Yeah, I judge you for that for sure.
But no, like 3 ounces, 4 ounces of eggnog.
A shooter?
Yeah,
An
basically.
eggnog shooter.
That's all you should be drinking.
Okay.
The amount of sugar in like, I don't know how original eggnog, like the actual eggnog historically, was that sweet?
I don't think so. I don't know that any of these are that sweet. So it's funny. Apple cider to me is not ultra sweet in my memory. How I think about it, of those 3, it's the least sweet. But you're right. You shake that little packet into a thing of water, and you got
That's
problems,
gross.
man. That's a lot of sugar in there.
And I don't care for hot chocolate.
Hot chocolate with peppermint schnapps. That's delicious.
Okay.
On Christmas morning.
Something to cut the sweet there. It's kind of sweet on sweet, isn't it?
Keep me warm on those cold days.
Who was raised in Albuquerque around this table? Can you guess? I'm so cold.
I know what Lindsay's taking to the Tin Pan Theater on Christmas Day. I'll tell you that.
They'll probably have it for sale. That'd be great.
They probably will. You know, this worked out even better than I hoped.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
That was some lively debate.
I know.
Jeez. Okay, we got to end this.
Traditions and stuff, that's a really ripe for debate.
It
I
is.
mean, when the decor goes up, when
Yeah.
it comes down.
Yeah, it's all low stakes but big opinions. That's what
Yeah.
we like in a debate.
Which is why you and I are so vanilla on Christmas Eve. We don't want to ruin it. We're reading the friggin' story.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what we're doing.
We'll be as forgettable as possible. Oh my goodness. Hey, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I think this will come out right before Thanksgiving, and hope you have a wonderful time with friends and family. And we'll be back in Advent for some Advent readings as we get closer to Christmas.
I'm going to do brisket on Thanksgiving.
Ooh.